Good morning and welcome back to the channel, guys. This morning is not going to be a video on takeoff or landing. This is just going to be what I would call a video of enlightenment. I'm going to share with you a bit about FSLABS, the A320X, which you can see in front of you. We are positioned at London Heathrow International Airport, and we're going to go through some of the features of the update that FSLABS introduced last week Friday. Now, a couple things you need to be aware of is, first of all, I'm not going to go through the regular flow. I'm only going to use the essentials for the sake of this video. I have done an unrealistic flight plan for the main reason that I want the video to be as short as possible, but still able to give you the information that you need in order to see what it's like, as well as for those persons that might be struggling on how to avail of the features, like the integration of GSX, show you how to actually do it. Now, I'm not 100% familiar with it because I've only done 2 flights, so you might find that at some points I might make a mistake and have to go back over what I've done, or I might skip something, but I'll find it out because I am referring to the documentation that FSLABS provides with the updates. To do this, you need to have some kind of flight planning tool, otherwise it's going to take forever, and I'm not going to be putting in waypoints manually for this flight. I have created a very simplistic flight plan, which is from London Heathrow to London Gatwick, with I think about 60 passengers on board. With that number, I'm able to keep the video much shorter than what it would normally be, considering that normally it takes an hour or more to get everything done. A couple of things you need to be aware of before we get into it. For the GSS integration, which is what we'll be demonstrating via the ATSU, you need to be at a gate that can accommodate the size aircraft that you have. If it doesn't accommodate the size aircraft, GSX does not work. You just need to go into the settings and change it to accommodate the size of the aircraft, and then everything will work. Secondly, if you have any different keys from default mapped to GSX menus, this will not work. I found that out the hard way. I had enter as mine, and for the love of God, I could not get the thing started. But thanks to the help of the guys on the forums, you need to keep it at Control Shift F12, and then FSX will work. I do believe they have a fix for that, but more than likely it will not be released until another update. So let's get to it, shall we? So we are in a cold and dark state in the FSLABS A320. This is how I normally start my flights. You can have it started with the engines running, but then it takes away from the immersion, it takes away from the realism of the sim. And what FSLABS have done is they've entered a higher level of realism unmatched by any developer at the moment, which is good for the sim community, because the higher the bar is raised, others are forced to either step it up or go home, basically. So let's get some power into the aircraft. Aircraft goes through its self-test as normal. This is nothing new. We'll let that go through that, and as I said, this is not going to be a takeoff video. This is just making you aware of the features that the FSLABS A320 update bring. So I will skip essentials. I won't be doing any fire tests or anything like that. I'll just be going through some of the new features and how to get it up and running. So this test usually takes around 40 seconds. Just basically all the hardware checking itself, software doing its checks to make sure everything is okay. So that's done. Or almost done. And we should be good to go. Now I would recommend that if you are doing this and it's the first time that you've got into FSLABS, be patient, let it run its course, let it go through all the loading and stuff like that. Otherwise you might just make things a little bit complicated for yourself. There's still the there it is, perfect. So we'll start at the MCUs, or the FMGC you should say. Actually it's MCDU. I'm more of familiar with Boeing than I am with Airbus, for the main reason that I haven't used Airbus as much as in comparison with Boeing. I've done the Aerosoft one for a bit, but that's a thing of the past. So when you start it, anyways, I digress. When you start it, this is the menu that you're gonna get, and right here at the bottom left, you won't be able to see my mouse, but at the bottom left you've got the ATSU. This is where pretty much everything is controlled. Alright, so I'm gonna pop this one back in for now. To get GSX started, you have a button down here which is the INT/RAD next to the voice one. If you flip it up and keep it held for a couple of seconds, it then starts GSX. You see the pushback vehicle is there. Here we go. And that will start pretty much the boarding process, even though the aircraft is empty. Everything is automated, so no handling by myself. You can see the doors are opening, but the cargo doors, the gates here at Heathrow aren't sewed, so for this one I just use Ctrl J to move the jetway, but everything else is going to be operated by GSX. Now if it had sewed here, GSX would have
baggage handling complete,
operated the jetway on its own. Now back to the panel here. A couple things that you want to have on will be your PA and your cabin. Those buttons should be on. Once I've gotten the GSX started, I can return the int back to neutral. Now the next step will be to import the flight plan, and I'll just bring this back up here so you can see better. Just put it in the middle there. So in it, flight is BAW1. And as you can see, BAW1 from London Heathrow to Gatwick, it has a cost index of 54 for this flight. Now what the documentation says is that you shouldn't have a cost index. That might have changed since the or prior. That might have been the case prior to the release of the update, but I've found on each occasion that my cost index comes in from my flight planning tool. You can change this if you like. You can change it to whatever number that you like, but I'll leave it as it is. The next step is to then do an init request. And then you should get a confirmation of the uplink. AOC, activate flight plan uplink. So that's what you're actually looking for at this stage. Alright? So from here, MCDU menu, and that's what you're always going to go back to when you want to actually get into ATSU. You have to click on the MCDU menu and it brings you back to all of the menus, and then you can go into ATSU from there. ATSU is going to be controlling pretty much everything that happens on the ground. You won't need this once you've taken off, unless you actually have what is it, there's a file that you can install as well. I know I have it with the British Airways, but I don't have it with the other aircraft, and this file pretty much allows the system to message you when you're about to land to let you know what gate that you actually want to go to, rather than you looking through the, if you're with a virtual airline, looking through their SOPs and stuff to see what gates they actually use at a particular airport. Next step will be the AOC menu, and then you're going to see all different options here. You've got the init, the offline flight plan data, ATC required, performance required, an option for free texting, which is basically texting anyone on the network. Once you're online, this could be either ATC, it could be another plane, it could be a friend, whoever. Then you've got the weather ATIS, departure ATIS, fueling, boarding, emergency assistance, which I haven't touched as yet, and then receive messages. Most of the times you're going to be going into the receive messages because you're sending off requests and then they're coming back in the form of messages telling you exactly what you need to do. So first we're going to go on the init page, and on the init page we're then going to put in some information for the flight again. Again, the same flight number, the AW1. Here you put the crew details. You leave the ETE empty because this is going to be pulled in from the flight plan as well. So crew details, I should have changed my flight, my departure time. What time is it now? 8:34. Alright, that's fine. I can always go back later. So crew details, you can put whatever you feel like here. You can put your name, you can put a friend's name, you can make up it, you can call yourself Mickey if you like. It doesn't matter. It's just for paperwork purposes to show who's the captain, who's the co-pilot, and then at the end you can say who actually landed the plane. So I am John, for those who don't know. My actual name is Jonathan. Most people call me John, and I usually fly with Michael, so I'll put Michael as my first officer here. Or my co-pilot. Then I return to init. And then I'm going to do the init data request. And as you can see, the ETE has come in. So my estimated time elapsed for the flight will be 23 minutes. That is populated from the actual flight plan, so you don't have to put that in. You can put it in manually, but just following the documentation as we speak. So once we've done that, we go back to the AOC menu, and then we're going to go back to the offline flight plan data. Try saying that 3 times fast before biting your tongue. Right, so for here, this is basically your fuel that you need, the taxi fuel, the trip fuel, and then what your block fuel would be, which is both of them pretty much added up. And then you've got your zero fuel weight, your time of departure, which is supposed to be in 2 minutes for me. Now that's not going to work, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to, for the EDNO, not 100% sure what that stands for, and I'm going to put 50 minutes, and this is basically telling the system that my flight is delayed by 50 minutes. So instead of looking for me to depart at 8:40, it's now going to be looking for me to depart at 9:30, and then I send that information off as well. Now down here you see that I've got a company message already, so something has come back And to check that, you just go into your Aoc menu, receive messages. I've got a load sheet here, and then I've got a new message here. So this is my preliminary load sheet, and basically it has the information like my zero fuel weight, my takeoff weight, and you're pretty much just going through it there to get your CFG and your zero fuel weight. Everything looks fine according to the plan that I've done so far, and there are 5 pages, so you can just scroll through to see what it is that you want. Once everything checks out, you click accept. Go back to receive messages, and basically this is the departure slot information. So now this was originally telling me that I'm supposed to leave at 8:40. If I didn't put in a delay, because I haven't gone through everything, I get a message probably like every 5 minutes showing me that a slot has been pushed back. Ideally, I would want to see this in an ideal world. I would like it taking into consideration what is actually going on in the sim. So if I haven't started boarding, rather than telling me that my pushback slot will now be 5 minutes later, use a realistic figure like half an hour later or something like that. I might be asking too much, but it's just that more level of immersion for me, a more level of realism. Not started boarding yet and telling me that I'm pushing back in 10 minutes. It's impossible. So maybe in a future update, GSX speaks more to FSLABS and let it know, look, we need such and such amount based on this, or FSLABS style GSX, we need such and such more based on what we have to do. We've got catering, we've got fueling, we've got boarding to do. It's impossible to do it in 10 minutes, therefore let's start with 30 minutes. But it's new, it's the first time that it is being in the sim, so it is what it is for the moment, and it's better than it has been. So let's move on from the messages. So we've confirmed the data. Back here, I've sent that information off. So I've got refueling here. I have GSX. If you don't have GSX, you don't need to choose GSX. You can put automatic, and the plane will simulate it being fueled on its own without the help of GSX. I know a couple days ago someone bought the FSLABS and they were complaining about GSX, said that FSLABS forced them to buy GSX and they don't like it. One, you don't need GSX for this, that's optional. And two, GSX just adds another level of realism, as quirky as it might be in some of its tasks. Alright, anyways, from here we go to boarding. You can see the plane is empty, pretty much in terms of cargo. It's only 2,545 pounds. The crew that we're going to be taking on is 2, and then it shows you the different segments, how much passengers can hold for each segment, and how much it actually is holding. And then it has my zero fuel weight. This is going to change for boarding. It will be less, and then once the plane has been filled, it will come back to this number if nothing changes. In a real life environment in aviation, you've got situations where passengers don't show up, where a bag is decided to be left back for weight and balance issues and stuff like that. So basically this can change. This is just the preliminary, and you'll get a final load sheet which will allow you to change all of that. There's the fuel truck. It's just arrived and it's going to start fueling. Again, no input from me, I didn't call it. It's all handled by FSLABS and the GSX integration. So the next thing that we'll do from here is click on request, and this is where we do the catering. So we click on catering. You can change how much water or how much catering you want to have on board. I only have 6 people on board, so I'll change this for 50%. And as you see, the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel CG changes. Any weight change will cause this to happen in real life, and it is simulated as well in FSS. I've done that, and then I do a request, and then that will send off a message to company, and they will sort out they will send over the catering trucks. For boarding, I've got that I'll be leaving at 9:30 Zulu. So what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna put a time to start boarding. So if I'm leaving at 9:30, let's say I do boarding at you want to give yourself at least half an hour, 25 minutes to half an hour is recommended. So I'll say I'll probably do it at 9:05. I don't have a full plane, so that should be fine. And then I send off a request for that. And when 9:05 comes, it's now 8:44. I should have actually done it. I should have done it earlier, because that now means that we have at least 20 more minutes in the video. Anyhow, let's move on. Back to Aoc menu again. And now this is where you get your weather. If you're online, there's ATSU online. You can do you can request ATIS, but that only works if the company is online. I just click METAR. Again, I've got a message there with the METAR. Weather for London Heathrow, and here's my information. Variable at 2 knots. And then I've got my temperature, 11 degrees, 2.7 degrees. My altimeter is 1014, so it's changed slightly since I've actually started the video. Just change that there. And then it is basically becoming 5,000. I've got all the information I need from there. So basically I can use any airport, any runway rather, that I want to take off from. You also do have an option for pre-departure clearance. I'm not online, and I won't be demonstrating this because I will need to be online. Now, one thing I want to bring to your attention, this number next to the fuel, before I should have actually shown this, it would have said 3, and now it's saying 6. 6 basically means that the airplane is finished fuel. So shortly after, I'm going to get a message asking me to confirm the fuel that has been put on board. So I think the fuel truck is gone. Yep. Alright, so let's see, what do we do from here? So we did not too long ago into the load sheet. I'm going to go back in there, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring up this next MCDU, put them side by side, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill out information for the flight in terms of the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel CG. And you're going to go to the init page here, and you see that this is not populated. So what you need from here is the zero fuel weight and the zero fuel weight CFG, and then the block fuel. So I've got my zero fuel weight as 103.4, so I'll put that back here. You'll find that on page 1 for the zero fuel weight, and then there's a slash, and then what I want is the CG. and the CG is 23.6, so that is slash 23.6. I put that in up there, and then I go back to my flight plan to see how much fuel I'm actually taking on board from block to blocks. So block is 7313. I believe that goes in as I think that goes in as 7.3. And then this should populate some information there. There we go. So once that's done, there should be a message from fueling shortly. So once the fuel truck goes back to its office, is then going to generate a report to ops. Ops send off that report to us. In the meantime, I'm just going to get some stuff started here. Align my adheres. Like I said, I'm not going through the engine fire test and all of that. I'm just going through the basics to get the plane up and running. Good, that's there. Oxygen on. Okay, so you can see my route is in there now, and there's 1 more minute for alignment of the IRS. You go through your flight plan. It's automatically pulled in my runway, which is 27 right for departure. It's also put in my SID, which is the mid 4 foxtrot. There's no transition. And one thing that I love about FSLABS is that if you're someone that doesn't have access to nav data, and you want to know like what the transition level is for each airport outside of the States, it's anything. It can be anything. Whereas in the States and Canada, you'll find that it'd be about 18,000 feet. So one neat thing about this is that FSLABS always generate what the transition altitude is, so it's one less thing for you to do. You can double check to make sure it's right. I haven't encountered a situation where it's not, so it's just one less thing for you to do when you're actually doing your prep. Alright, so everything checks out for my route. The next thing that we're just waiting for the fuel one, the fuel note. So I'm gonna check. Message ATSU again. AOC menu. Still not there as yet. So we give it a few seconds. It is a big airport. And we've still got another. Actually, what I'll do is see if we can actually speed up the boarding here. So boarding request. I've got begin at 9:05. Let's put it at 8:57. That gives us 2 minutes for it. 0857. see if we can change it. No, I cannot. So it's either gonna happen at 8:57 or it's gonna happen at 9:05. So that means that you're gonna be stuck with me for another 10 minutes at least. If it doesn't go off in the next, that is 8:52. Let's try 08:53. I don't think it'll work. Actually it does. Boarding starts now. So you see a company message has come up. Loading is started. So you can actually change the time. If you put in a time that is longer than expected and you finish all your checks, you can then go back and change the time.
All other items must be placed into an overhead locker.
I didn't know that before.
Please place your bags right inside the locker as they can sometimes fall out.
So what we're going to do now is,
if your bag has wheels, please put it in wheels first. We'd appreciate your assistance by closing the overhead lockers once they are completely full. If you are seated in an emergency exit row or a front row bulkhead seat, all of your items must be placed into an overhead locker as the floor area
once the
around
passengers
you
are
must be
all
kept
on board,
clear.
the doors will close, and by that time you need to have the APU running. Flap is open. Start APU. APU spooling up. Perfect. APU available. APU bleed on. Should turn on my fuel as well. My fuel pumps. Perfect. You can hear the air conditioning and stuff on now. So I would take away external power. Disconnect the GPU. Done. Alright, so let's get back to it. Here's the menu, back to messages. I've got 2 new messages there, so there's one here. This is just telling me now that my pushback time should have been 8:50, and it's going to keep doing that every 10 minutes or so. So I'll leave that one. Now it's telling me 9 o'clock. And like I said, it would tell me that pretty much for every 10 minutes after the time that I have actually delayed past my pushback time. Here basically is the fuel readout. It tells you the quantity that you had before. So I had 6,000 pounds of fuel, 6.1, and I was going to 7,300. So it's it's uploading 959 pounds, uplifted rather 959 pounds. Once the volume equates to that, I put back in that same figure. So I've got 7260, slightly less because I'm using the APU. I put that figure in there, and then I send a report off to ops. Report is sent. Sending. And then I'm done there.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you have just joined us, a very warm welcome on board.
The number disappears from fuel, so you don't see the 6 anymore.
Luggage, small bags may be kept underneath
Meanwhile,
in front of you. All other items
Outside, aircraft is being loaded, or they're waiting for the trucks. Passengers you won't see on this one because they're getting on via the jetway, so you won't see a truck coming up for the passengers. But I can hear the bags coming. I'm just not sure from which direction, but they will eventually get here. And the only thing that I'm waiting for now is the final load sheet. Once the passengers are on, that comes about within a minute after they're on. And with that, I will just be using it now to input information here so I can calculate my V-speeds. Prior to this update, I was using a software called Top Gear to calculate my V-speeds because FSLAB wasn't able to do it before, but now that's all built in as well, so that's another change. So here is where I put in the information. So my departure is London Heathrow, Echo Golf Lima Lima, 2 Limas. Runway is 27 right. For this one, I don't remember what it was. So for this one, I'm actually gonna go into the menus just for Active Sky. So let's see here. Temperature is 11 degrees. That goes there. And the QNH is, where is it? 1014 still. Sounds like the trucks are coming. Put that here, and then I'm going to put in information from here. Just go back here because I've got the message that I needed now. No, that's another slot change. So I just need to wait until the passengers are all on board to get the final figures. Then I'll put in the takeoff weight and then the Mach takeoff weight. And I'll send that off, and then they'll come back basically with what speeds I'll be taking off with, what flex temperature, what flaps.
Baggage handling complete and the aircraft is clear.
So passengers all on board. Gate is gone. Or the doors are closed rather, closing. we're just now waiting for the load sheet. Now I believe a final load sheet comes. Let's just say, for the sake of argument, that this was the final load sheet, because I am aware this video is quite long and it's in 4K, so it's going to be a long time to upload. It's going to take a long time to upload. So I'm going to go with these numbers here. But basically, when you get the final load sheet, if these numbers have changed, you will need to change this information. So I'm going back with these here. So my takeoff weight is 110.2. Not taking that. Was not taking that. Oh, I've typed it into the wrong place. I did. And then for the next page, I've got my mat takeoff weight, which is 24.4. I send that, and I should get a performance message shortly. And while I do that, I just get my wings. Wind requests. And I've got a message here, which is my performance. So runway is dry, we're taking off from runway 27 right. Anti-ice off, packs will be on. I've got 11 degrees on the temperature, QNH is 1014. Here are V-speeds. So I'm gonna write this down as I'm waiting for my wings to come in. So we're looking at 132 for V1, 136 for V2, and then 137. And we're using a flight temperature of 67 degrees. Actually, I can go back and check the winds, that's no problem. So I go back here, performance, 132, 136, 137, flex 67. And one flap. Actually is 1, so my wind data is coming, so it's 1/0.9 up. There we go, and that's me all ready for takeoff. Now I used the figures that I had there, but like I said, usually they would or shortly after. Sometimes it takes a while, like in this case it did, because I'm pretty sure that that message there, is it? I could have done something wrong and made a mistake. I don't think so. Right, this is the final load sheet I was talking about. So this is what I would have been waiting on to put on my performance information. Now if you look back at what I have here, the figures are different. So my zero fuel weight is less than what it said it would have been before. It's now 102.5 instead of 103.4. So you would just change this. And then let's see, and I'm now at 23.4. So 102.5/23.4. I was hurrying up the video, so I didn't wait for this. But you need to change this, otherwise you're going to find that the aircraft, depending on how heavy it is, the CG could be all wrong, and it can cause you to burn more fuel than you need to. It can make the aircraft unstable and stuff like that. But that's it. Once you've done all of this, you're good to go. My winds have come in. I've got my V speeds in. I've got the flaps I need to do. And all there is to do, folks, now is to push back. So to call GSX again, you go back to the INT rad. Hold it for a couple of seconds. My hand slipped off of it there, so probably have to do it again. And menu comes up, push back, nose right, tail left, and that, my friend, is all there is to it.
Good day, Captain. Tug's connecting now.
I hope that
so we'll push it back in just
this
a couple
video
of
did
Confirm
shed some
parking
light
brake
a
set,
bit
please.
on FSLABS. They started strong when they first came out in terms of the level of integration and immersion that they had, and they've only going from strengths to strengths, and I am excited to see what they will bring in the future. They have taken over from the likes of PMDG in terms of, in my opinion, in terms of being the best aircraft and stuff like that.
Tug is in position and bypass pin is inserted. Ready to push. Apron now clear. Release parking brakes. Pushing now. All clear for engine start.
And if you were sitting on the fence about whether to get it or not, I hope this video gives you an idea of what is in store for you. If you already have it and you weren't sure about how to do the setup process,
to automatic and cross-check.
I hope that this did help shed some light on what you might have been missing or what you might have been doing wrong. like I said in the
we are now
end,
going to brief you on the safety procedures of this aircraft.
you need to
We
wait
ask you
on
to
that
remove your
final
personal
load
headphones
sheet.
until the
I
end of the
didn't
safety
want to
brief.
wait on the load sheet,
All handheld devices,
so the
including mobile
performance
phones,
data
can
that
now
I
be in
actually
flight
put
safe mode
in
or
will
switched
be
off,
slightly
held
off.
securely or placed into a pocket.
The difference
Larger
in
devices, including
the
laptops,
preliminary
must now be
load
switched off
sheet
and stowed away
and the
safely.
final load
As a
sheet wasn't
reminder,
that
smoking is
much,
not permitted
so
at
I
any time
could
whilst on
take
board.
off with
If you do
these
have any questions, please
numbers.
ask a member of your
In real
cabin
life
crew.
you wouldn't, you'll make a change, but this, like I said, was only a video to get you guys up and running.
After the success of last year's
And I
in-flight
hope it
safety
did just
video, lots more actors have been in touch with me being like, Chubadi, please let us be part of the sequel. Pathetic, really, you know. And sure, they've got their BAFTAs, they got their Oscars, but what they really... Can someone go chicken shop?
And you are
My name's Chubadi G.
Chip Patty what?
No, Chubadi G. Chibati is a sandwich.
So
we get a
guys,
sandwich?
No, I'm directing. It's not
the next video, in case you had watched this video hoping for
Hello.
takeoff,
We'll now demonstrate the safety features of
takeoff
this
video will
aircraft.
follow this one.
Please pay attention, as these may differ
maybe
from an aircraft that
half
you've
an hour
flown
to
on
an hour.
before.
Classic. That was really good.
Hopefully.
I think I would have done it like that actually.
I
well,
should have taken more time
The
to
name-
learn the system better, but
Body G.
my vacation is almost finished. I
Damn
return
it.
to
I
work
was doing
shortly,
James Bond
Yeah, I got that.
because you're in
and
it.
I have
I am in
exams
it.
coming up as well.
Hand baggage
So-
should not block the aisles or exit.
I
It must be
decided
put under the
to,
seat
rather
in front of
than
you
wait,
or in an
rush through
overhead
it.
locker.
I did make
Please
some
place
mistakes
items
that
in the
you've
locker
seen,
carefully,
and I
as they
did
may
rush
fall
the brush
out
a bit,
and injure
but
someone.
I'm feeling
hopefully that
shaken
didn't take away too
and
much from the
stirred.
videos. I'll leave you guys here,
And you
I
are
wish you all the best for the coming day and
Joanna
week as well.
Lumale.
Joanna.
Take care.
Joanna.
And see you
Right,
soon.
okay, this is a very important
See
scene
ya.
because you got to handle some props. Have you done prop work before?
Yeah.
You have? Okay. Action.
All exits are clearly marked and are being pointed out to you now by our gorgeous cabin crew.
You've done prop work before. I can see you have. Very impressed with you. Keep impressing me.
Opening the doors automatically inflates the evacuation slides. High-heeled shoes must be taken off as they may tear the slide. Don't worry, you'll all still look
Tug disconnected and clear.
absolutely
Bypass pin has been
fabulous
removed.
without them. Is that strictly necessary?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise people won't know who you are. I'm actually a model myself.
Oh, really? What kind of modelling?
Plus size male modeling, actually. What have you done?
Like Vogue and...
Vogue.
Vogue?
Vogue.
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 Yeah.
Right.
Please now fasten your seatbelt. It must be worn whenever the
Clear
signs
left
are on, and
and
it's
right.
fastened and adjusted
Disconnecting
like
now.
this. And
Have a flight,
opened
bye-bye.
like this.
Brilliant. That's it.
Okay?
Let's get a selfie. Come on.
Right now?
Come on, let's get a selfie.
I mean, normally I'll be on the other side.
No,
of
this
the
is my best side, so we should probably just stick with that. But let's see your smouldering face. Let's see your smizing. Bit intimidating.
Are you alright?
Yeah.
Okay. A bit up like here. Yeah.
Just
So-
let the bro do it.
Just maybe more towards the light. Like, you have to... There you go, light it.
Yeah, I'll give you some tips. You're not that good. Mine is better. Look.
If the cabin air supply fails, oxygen will be provided. Masks like this will appear automatically. Stay in your seats and pull the mask towards you. Place the mask over your mouth and nose like this and breathe normally. You're bleeding Ronaldo, you are.
What I need from you is a little bit of oomph. More oomph. More oomph. Let's go.
Your life jacket is underneath or beside your seat. If required, please remove the jacket from its container and pull it over your head.
Don't stop now. Come on, come on.
And please do not inflate your life jacket until you've left the aircraft.
Yeah, too much. You spoiled it. Before takeoff, please ensure your seat is in the upright position.